Smith gets to sing a great song about stay with me. That goes straight to power rotation on a mainstream radio station. If I sing that same song, stay with me, limited bandwidth. Because our violence isn't the threat, our love is. Our family separated, it's fine, it's perfect. The man staying with his family and raising his kids and pouring into his woman, that's the threat. And that's what R&B stands for, and that's why R&B takes such a back seat, because we're not promoting the aesthetic that continues to perpetuate the stereotype. You guys are killers. You guys are animals. You guys are savages. That's when you're at your best. So that's what we're going to reward. Those are the guys who get the $100 million deals. Those are the guys who fill up the arenas and stadiums and talk that shit. We love when you talk that shit. Love? We're cool.
Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome to Pretty Realist Podcast. It's the FemC, that's me, Shannon Nicole. Now let's get into this video. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity of spending time with family and celebrating my beautiful mom's 60th birthday. It was absolutely beautiful. We had a 70s theme, and it was so great to just be around so many family members that I had not seen in so long. Like, I'm talking about like years. And another thing that I noticed while I was there is the abundance of Black love that was in the building. And I'm talking about like old school Black love. I'm talking about people who have probably been married for 40, 50 years even. My mom and my pops, they have been married for 31 years. It was so inspiring just to see them so in love with each other, and me knowing where they started, like when they first got married, and seeing where they are right now. It really played a major role in what I wanted to talk about today. Now, there was a video that I came across. It was by one of my favorite podcasters. His name is actually O'Shea Duke Jackson. He has a channel called Celebrity Junk. If you have never checked out his videos, check him out. Dude is hilarious, but he always makes a lot of good points. I don't always agree with everything that he puts on his site. He kind of comes off as one of those guys that was in the manosphere, and you know what type of guys I'm talking about. He's just one of those people that just praises Kevin Samuels. And you know, I have no problem with Kevin Samuels. Let me put that disclaimer out there. Rest in peace to him. He, you know, definitely allow Black men to be a little bit more open about the issues that they're going through when it comes to dealing with Black women in the dating world and in relationships. But a lot of the times I didn't agree with a lot of things that Kevin Samuels said, because it was just kind of hard for me to take him seriously, because he had multiple failed marriages. And I didn't understand how Black men in general, got so wrapped up into listening to everything that he was talking about when he couldn't even keep his own relationships in check. Just saying. But either way, he did make a lot of strong points. I could see why a lot of Black men would feel attracted to him, because they didn't never really have a voice. We had more of an opportunity to voice our opinions when it comes to dating and dealing with Black men in the world prior to Kevin Samuels coming into the fold. And then it just sparked this big movement of men who felt the need to just grab a microphone and feel that they need to just get their phones and tell other Black men what they don't have to deal with and what type of women that they need to be looking for. I came across this video, really kind of struck a chord, and not in a bad way, because I do agree with some of the things that he spoke about, but there were some things that I didn't really agree with. The reason why is because I started a thread on my Facebook page just to kind of get a better opportunity of understanding the mindset of the current reality when it comes to Black love. Being in a space where so many Black people who are older and they're there enjoying themselves with their spouses. We have no idea what they went through in their relationship, but at the same time, they were there. It kind of puts you in a mindset of like, what are we doing wrong that Black relationships cannot stay together? Puts you in a mindset of like, what are we doing wrong that Black relationships cannot stay together? We got all of these people getting divorces. We have all of these people that just continuously feel like they have to let the whole world know about what they got going on in their relationships. Meanwhile, the statistics are showing that we are not doing a good job when it comes to communicating, relating to our relationships. We're not doing a good job because the divorce rate in this country is already high, but nowadays, when it comes to Black people, the divorce rate is skyrocketing. We have this feminist movement that we have allowed to come into our community and completely eliminate the man from even being necessary. I'm trying to understand how we got to this point, which is what I want to talk about today. Now, keep this in mind. These are my own personal opinions. And also, I will share my own personal story and struggles when it comes to dating in the modern world. But first, let me not hold y'all up too long. Like I said, I had a pretty heavy weekend. I'm actually in my pajamas right now. I just took the time to go ahead and put me a little earrings on because I can't do nothing without earrings. But yeah, I had a time this weekend. Okay, let's check it out.
It's on the Drink Champs podcast. And of course, Boosie is very animated and, very funny. And he made a particular comment concerning how social media ruined relationships for both men and women. What we'll do is we'll play the clip here and then we'll come back.
Social media fucked up everything. It made more avenues for money now.
Right. For sure.
But it fucked up everything. Marriages. Everything. At first, your bitch used to just see the niggas at work, you, and that's it. And come home. That's all she had to look at. Now she got about 30,000 niggas to look at. You heard me? For when you don't act right. And she hypnotized by all the other the bitches getting shit on Instagram that she ain't getting.
That's true.
So all that time you didn't put in but no money, it fucked up everything. It fucked up you too. All you had to look at was your side bitches, your bitches at work, your bitch at home and come back. That's all we had. That's all. It was a couple side bitches from the other side of town. Now you hypnotized.
Yeah.
You look at your bitch and you see 1,000 bitches look better.
I think best too.
And you looking way better than your bitch. You look over and tell you like, it made us fools, bro. It made us.
No, I did.
It made bitch up. It made the nigga.
So guys, you heard that. That's Boosie saying that social media pretty much made everybody more promiscuous than before. And, as much as you want to believe that, I really don't think that's the truth. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Let's say you're a man and you have a female, all right? You're the average guy. What are your chances online of meeting women? Now, it is a possibility to meet more women because you don't have to go out and approach them and your net is casted wider. But here's the actual truth. On Tinder and on social media, women have a really, really big advantage. Huge advantage. Like even on Tinder to match. Most guys don't get to match in most major cities, right? Now it's a little bit different if you're a guy and your brother, you come into Lagos, Nigeria, obviously you'll probably match a little bit more than if you're in Los Angeles. But most guys have a hard time matching with hot women on the internet. Now, let's talk about the women. Do they have more opportunities? Sure. But are these opportunities really serious? I mean, it's a big difference between guys saying like, hey, you're sexy. Hey, you're beautiful. I'd love to be with you. Than a guy saying, hey, I really want to date you. Hey, I really want to take you serious. Hey, I want to marry you. Hey, I want to meet your parents. And hey, I want to really buy you a nice car. I want to put your kids through college. I want to marry you. Those are different things. And beautiful women have, just as much opportunity in real life than, over the internet. And I think what Boosie is referring to is because, he's a superstar. He's looking at it from that end, but for the average guy, his opportunities haven't really risen that much. So did social media ruin marriages? No. Entitlement is what ruined marriages, or what's ruined relationships. Now, the thing is this, could social media give ladies false confidence? I believe that's absolutely true. I think sometimes women get a lot of attention online and they try to equate that to what their real worth on the dating market is in person. That's true. But what really ruined relationships is not necessarily so much of social media. And social media, it can play just like the news media, but this is an entitlement. I don't need to do anything for that guy. I want this and this and this, but I don't want to work to get that from this particular man in a relationship. And that's just, for women who might not even be, completely attractive. I mean, you can even talk about it. Look at Kendra G's show. You have ladies sometimes who are like 42, 7 kids, 6 different fathers. What are they looking for? A guy that's 6'7" with no children at all that makes $130,000 a year. You see, these standards have always been the case before social media. See, the conversations that, we've been having, people like Kevin Samuels have been having, we've been having these conversations all the time in the black community. They just come on to social media. Women have been having these conversations. You deserve better ever since, before Mary J. Blige came out, before Keisha Cole came out. These were the discussions of the day. So women's entitlement has not changed since the 90s. It's been, equal. You're just now hearing it more. And with the advent of social media and live streams, I mean, we get to hear more from their face what they're looking for. That's what we're hearing now. But as far as, social media ruin relationships, no. Black relationships and marriages, that stuff was ruined before social media. By the time the 90s came, it was already a done deal. The fact is that we have in the black community a lot of young ladies and women in general who believe my career should come first, which I have no problem with that if that's what you want to do. And the effort that I put in my career, I don't need to put into a guy. But the effort he puts into his career, he better be putting that into me. I'm going to say that. As a woman, I am to be given, I'm talking about the woman's perspective, the effort I put into my career, I should have to put it there. But what the effort he needs to put in, to get me is what we really need. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's the only thing that we're talking about. And that entitlement has gotten, slightly worse. Social media is just what has displayed that. The conversations that Kevin Samuels was having was not a new conversation. It's the same conversation my dad had, my grandfather had in the 40s and 50s. It just now came onto social media. So now we're discussing it. And then you're discussing it with women live on an independent platform because you couldn't really see that in social media. So now you're able to debate the issues live with anybody. That's the difference. But social media isn't to blame for this. I think that it's like feminism, misandry, certain levels, I will talk about that too, of misogyny towards women. We gotta be real. All of those things culminated, especially in Black America, where I don't need you. Obsidian has a concept called there's a lot of hate screwing in Black America. Okay? I don't even need you to be in relationships. I could even have a baby by you and it's better. There's a 1988, I think, film about single moms out in, I don't know if it's Camden, New Jersey. And you're seeing it then. I don't need you. I don't need you. I can do it all by myself. Who cares about you? And that's my attitude. And women have had that attitude for a while. And a lot of Black men have had that attitude for a while. As simple as that. The culture has separated people. And I think that social media just kind of, plays into what's already been going on, but it's been there. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson.
He had a lot to say. And I could honestly say that I do believe that it has in some way changed how we do relate to each other. It has changed the dating market in a lot of ways, because now I believe that we have a lot more options visually. And then a lot of the times we pick certain people based off visual instead of understanding or getting to know who they are mentally. You could find somebody and they could look just as good with all the filters, all the makeup. They could just go ahead and just seem like they're just this great person, even, you know, with their fingers type in how good of a person that they are, and then you meet them and they're a complete psycho. Then we also have this situation where, you know, we have the couple goals, TikTok being a new thing, and we think, oh my God, they look so good together, not even really knowing that we don't know what they got going on behind the scenes. I wanted to ask a few questions on my Facebook page just to kind of get an understanding of how some of my peers feel about the current reality when it comes to Black love, when it comes to Black dating, because as I mentioned before, we're seeing an influx in divorces in our community. We're seeing a lot more broken homes as opposed to the standards of father and mother in the household these days compared to how it was in the early 1900s all the way on up until the 60s and the 70s. There's been a huge increase in Black people adopting this way of life when it comes to poly. And even I myself indulged in that lifestyle for a very short period of time. So how did we get to this point right now where we're just taking on all of these new concepts and we're not really understanding where they came from? How did we get here? And should we continue to live this way, or do we need to make some serious changes if we want to continue to develop strong and healthy, happy relationships? So when I went on my Facebook, I asked a few questions, and child. Because as I mentioned this weekend, while I was out and I was enjoying my time with my family, it's something that I had noticed that really inspired me and really pushed me to do this video. Seeing my parents up there who have been married for 31 years, knowing where they started, knowing the hard times and the struggles that they went through with each other, seeing that, and then seeing where they are right now, the level of growth, the level of compassion, the level of honesty, and how my mom mentioned that even though she can be a bit difficult, and me knowing my mom, I know that that's true, all out of love. She said something that was so profound. She said, he still loves me, period. Because they had to learn and grow with each other throughout their marriage. It wasn't always, you know, butterflies and rainbows at the beginning. It eventually gradually grew into being something that they could hold on to for 31 long years. Now, one thing that I can say is I've learned a lot about the dynamics of their relationship. And I do know that patience is important when it comes to dealing with any kind of relationship. When it comes to even dealing with friendships, you have to be patient with the other person. Another creator that I learned from, his name is FD Signifier. He spoke about this as well in one of his videos. He's been with his wife for 18 years. They've known each other since they were teenagers. He had to learn that the woman that she was, of course, she was a teenager. She wasn't the same person that she is right now. He grew and learned and was patient enough to fall in love with the woman that she had become. The problem I think that we have nowadays is that we give up at the first sign of trouble. Now, granted, if you have a relationship to where it's disrespectful, you know, there's always infidelity or a situation that's going on to where you feel as if you can't trust your partner, then yes, I don't recommend that you stick around. We don't really have those conversations that need to be had because a lot of us are either afraid of the pushback that might come with it, or we ourselves are dealing with something that we may have developed while we were children, and we don't want the situation to cause us to break up, even though we know that they're toxic. Oh, they had good feedback. So the first question that I asked is, do you feel like social media is negatively affecting dating/marriages, and why? A lot of people agreed and said that it only affects the ones who aren't about the right anyway. That's what one of my friends said. She said, if you solid, social media can't alter that. People say, you know, I have a friend named DC. He said, no, it's impossible. He's been married for quite some time. And then, you know, we have some people who feel like it just depends on the couple being open and fully honest and not allowing petty jealousy or misunderstandings to cause issues within your household. I don't know if you've been through it, but situations like that can happen. We could have a situation, me and my boyfriend, where we're talking about something that have absolutely nothing to do with our relationship. We had one a couple of days ago that had absolutely nothing to do with our relationship, but because we both had opposing arguments and then we didn't really agree with, you know, how I was talking about it, or I didn't agree with how he's talking about it. It got a little heated, but it didn't take it to the point to where we're still sitting here mad at each other. We're able to get over that hump and continuously realize, hey, you know, it is what it is. Now, poly is something that really came into the fold more so, I would say, within like the last 10, 15 years when it comes to Black people. Now, some people say that it's been around for quite some time. I love to throw around the fact that it's an African tradition, which I actually did some research about, which isn't all the way 100% true. But it's become something that has become more open.
I would love to have a polyester relationship with Amy and Erica.
Did you mean polyamorous or did you mean polyester?
What's polyester?
Polyester is like a close thick. So I said you could say.
Oh, let me just let y'all know. I know the difference between polyamorous and polyester. But the reason I said a polyester relationship because I feel like I can weather both of them out.
A lot of people back in the, 70s, 80s, they may have been swingers or they may have, been a part of that lifestyle, but they did that behind closed doors. They didn't have groups, public forums. They didn't have videos where they were expressing themselves or promoting the lifestyle. It was something that was kind of done behind closed doors. But now we have people who are literally, they're becoming famous from being in poly situations.
Is Jerome. He fell in love with Jasmine. Jerome cheated in all his previous relationships.
I never felt like one female could amount to everything that I wanted. Jasmine was dope. She was able to cook. She was able to clean.
So the couple decided to open up their relationship. And now Jerome has 4 wives.
We don't have a maximum limit of people in a relationship.
But the outside world has scrutinized their way of life.
This old man is pimping y'all young, dumb A-words.
Hi, I'm Jasmine.
Hey, I'm Tisha.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. And we're all dating the same man.
I'm Jerome, and this is Jasmine.
We've been together 6 years. He slid in my DM on Facebook.
And she slid in my room after that. Our relationship history before meeting Big Jazz was, I can literally say, I feel like I was in the health department every weekend. I had multiple partners. I never felt like one female could amount to everything that I wanted. Whether she can cook and clean, but she couldn't have sex, or she can cook, clean, have sex, but she didn't know how to be there financially. I had to have a new partner every day. I definitely was more of a assassin, a cheater. But this girl got me. I was with a whole nother woman. And just being with Jasmine, I realized that you doing more than what my woman is doing at home. And you're only 19 years old. So I was just like, this girl at the home, she need to go. And I need to get Jasmine. Jasmine was dope. Did I cheat?
Did you?
I don't know.
Yeah, you cheated.
I used to cheat so much. So I ended up cheating. And then when I realized like this girl ain't playing like all the other women, I ended up getting her back.
Ooh, that make it perfect.
All right, so the backstory. He found out I was interested in females. We knew nothing about poly, and we tried it, we liked it, we started doing more research, and it just kind of went from there. And that's when Deja came into play. She was our first girl we tried it with.
Yeah. When Deja came in, it was just more of threesomes. And then Deja and Jasmine, they decided that they wanted to bring somebody else in.
That's when we brought in T-Bird.
We got Baby Jazz. She ended up doing good.
We don't have a maximum limit of people in a relationship. We'll always have that safe space to add, but it just all depends on what we can handle mentally and physically.
So now that y'all have seen this video, this is what I'm saying. He was a cheater from the jump, right? How would you even think that that's gonna fix your relationship? Because I feel like at that time, you're still like learning to know your partner. You're still getting the gist of what it means to even be in a cohesive, healthy, loving relationship. One thing that I love about our relationship is that we know if we have a situation where we're feeling as if we, see somebody that's attractive, or, you know what I mean? We have these conversations with each other before we just go and act on it. But the thing is that if you know that this man is just cheating, how did you think that you just allowing him to have all these additional bodies in your house was just going to make it even better? Before they even got together, he was already a major cheater. He was already talking about he needed another girl every single day. So who has that time these days to give that much energy? If you have a job, you have a family, you have children, you have all of these things that you have going on in your life, how do you have that much energy to give to multiple people? I asked a lot of people who I knew for sure were in, a lot of people who I know are in that lifestyle, because I remember seeing them in these groups that are on Facebook for poly, and, they were swingers and everything like that. When I asked them, why is it that the poly relationships have become so, so open in the Black community all of a sudden? A lot of them say, well, I can't expect my partner to give me everything that I need. I can't expect my partner to be able to completely satisfy me and open me up and this, that, and the other. And then I have some people who want to always swing this, this is African tradition to me. I'm just like, how long is y'all gonna hang from that? This is what the ancestors did. Who told you that? Did you really do your research when you got into this lifestyle? Or did you just decide that, I just want to be a hoe, but I still want to be married? Because I'm looking at it like, if you've been with somebody for a couple of years, say maybe 2 or 3 years, all of a sudden you feel like, I want to open up and I want to just start dating more people. That spirit has probably already been in you before you even got married. So why even get married? Why even put that type of strain on your relationship when you're still in the process of building a foundation? I can't sit here and say that it doesn't make sense to me, because I get it, man. Like, we're in a society right now where, people have eyes. You're going to see something that you like. I mean, you need to act on it. But I think social media has definitely shaped the way that a lot of people view dating. A lot of people willingly allow people to inbox them and engage with them. A lot of people are okay with sending pictures and videos of them being in the nude. Sometimes not even invited pictures. Women know we definitely get a lot of dick pics in our inboxes, and sometimes we don't even ask for them. Then on top of that, a lot of the times we see so much drama between Black people, and when it comes to women and men, you got Black women on here talking down on men and talking down about the sizes of their penises, and that these men ain't shit, and my baby daddy this, and so much shade that's just being thrown at each other. How is it that you expect even a potential partner to even take you serious if this is what you're going to post about the opposite sex? So you've already distorted an image of yourself to anyone who would even be remotely interested in giving you a shot. It's the same thing for men, because it's a lot of men who go on there who say degrading things about women. How do you expect that a woman will want to even deal with you? When it comes to him talking about entitlement, I agree with him in that sense. We do have this mindset to where, if he's not making a certain amount of money, then I can't deal with him. If he ain't driving this, I can't deal with him. We throw around this word, I'm looking for a high value man. Nobody was talking about high value men 20 years ago. Y'all wasn't. Let's be honest. A lot of y'all out here had children with men who probably had little to nothing. And y'all probably have multiple children with men who have had little to nothing. Now that you've already passed that prime and past that time of having all of these children, now all of a sudden you want a high value man? Make it make sense. You had 4 opportunities to find the partner that you wanted. So now you're 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and you're bitter, and you're posting it on social media for the whole world to see that you have no idea how to build meaningful relationships. It's not making that individual look bad, it's making you look bad. Where's the accountability at? Back to this poly situation. A lot of men on this post continuously talk about the fact that poly has been around for generations. Our ancestors and people in Africa have always had multiple wives. It says it in the Bible. And it's important that we engage in conversations like this because a lot of us have been duped to ruining our relationships. It's been that way for a long time now, and we failed to face it and realize that this was a construct. This was something that was structured for us to deal with. This was something that was structured for us to not be able to build the Black family right back up after situations took place in America that caused us to completely just eliminate Black families out of the fold. Now, having Black love is something nowadays I feel gets thrown around as a trinket or as something to be inspired by. Look at some of the inspirations that we've had to look at in order to think what Black love is. Remy Ma and Papoose, a few years ago, we swore that they was just a perfect relationship. Look what happened. Will and Jada took it upon themselves to have an open relationship, and look how it happened for them. Now it gives you a false sense of hope for even wanting to date, because now you're looking at all of these pillars of the community when it comes to Black relationships just completely fall, crash, and burn. I think that we need to start being more careful about what information is being given to us when it comes to how to move towards these new lifestyles that are supposedly traditional in the motherland. Because we also got to remember that Africa was colonized. Black love is revolutionary, and we know this. Granted, yes, you can love who you want to love. This isn't a discussion about anybody having interracial relationships. Not at all. But my focus right now is to figure out how we got to this mindset that we could just continuously tear each other down, and it's healthy for us to build a community that is going to actually carry us to the future. So when they say, oh, well, social media ruined it for Black relationships, you can't just completely put the blame on women. It has to be something that everybody needs to take a look at.
Has never known what to do about women. You went back and forth for centuries trying to decide if women were goddesses or witches, tools of the devil, the cause of original sin. You used to wonder whether or not women even had souls. There's never been any people on the face of the earth so confused and twisted up about women as the West. And then you came up with a so-called solution, which was to create this even more confused concept of equality. And then you'll accuse the Muslim world, and in fact the entire non-Western world, of being misogynistic and patriarchal, which is what you are, because the rest of the world never talked about equality the way that you do. But the reason we didn't talk about equality was because we were never as confused as you are, and have always historically been, about being humans. And then you try to force us to try to explain our beliefs to you according to your framework, to try to explain to you, for example, how Islam actually upholds the equality of the sexes in terms of both men and women having equal innate value, but they have different roles in society and so on. There's no reason why we need to do this. Why should we try to make our clarity align with your confusion?
Just as much as Black women may play a part in the breakdown of what's going on with Black dating, Black men need to also do the same. Because you all are carrying on a tradition that had absolutely nothing to do with your ancestors. You could sit here and say all day, oh, well, this is African culture. This is what I'm supposed to do. But then how you picking and choosing what part of that culture you want to go ahead and identify with? Because ain't nobody out here building no nations. Y'all not building no communities. Just be honest with the fact that you, me, us have become extremely overly sexual, hypersexualized, and some of us have not been able to be disciplined enough to not only identify the root of the problem, where it came from, how we got to that point, and we have continuously sold this dream of just being able to sleep with multiple people. It's just something that we got to come to terms with. It's called accountability as an adult. The name of this article is called African Blood Siblings. So polygamy existed all over Africa as an aspect of culture and or religion. It spoke of the fact that polygamy in Africa is a cultural practice that has been deeply rooted in African traditions, but polygamy is also a practice that was brought by colonizers, meaning Arabs, meaning Asians, meaning Europeans.
Say that a lot of people think of a poly relationship as is mostly about sex, and it's not.
Right.
That's because America got a hold of polygamy. Because I've even seen commentary from actual African people from Africa tell us that how we do polygamy is not fucking polygamy at all. For one, the women don't live together. Also, the men has to have a substantial amount of money to even consider having a second wife. Polygamy is not about 3 incomes building together in one home. It's about putting together multiple families to continue a legacy and business. Y'all are just so hypersexual that that's all y'all consider it about sex. Like, please. 3 people in one household, 3 incomes. No, that's not building. That's absolute bullshit. And most of y'all be listening to these men. Yeah, those are the ones that are just fucking lazy and want the women to do all the work. Like, please. Stop.
We have been taking dating advice from the wrong people, as opposed to actually sitting down and speaking with elders who have been married for 60 plus years and really figuring out what is the sauce, what kept y'all together. Now, this may work for some people, but we have to start looking at the statistics as to why 70% of black women are single right now, why 55 to 60% of black men are single in America right now. It's like our brains have been warped and conditioned to feel as if we are each other's enemies.
But when I tell you social media is amplifying the divide between black men and black women, pages like Justin LA Boy, pages like Spiritual World, who take the most toxic messages from Twitter and all other platforms, put them in one space that are purposely perpetuating narratives that we really aren't interacting with in the real world. You go on a date, you're not having these conversations, but you go on social media and these conversations are constantly repeated, and none of it is solution focused. It's all what they do, what's not being done, and it's not productive. It's not pushing us forward, and what's happening is we are internalizing a lot of trauma that does not belong to us.
Say it again.
So we are internalizing a lot of relationship trauma that does not belong to us. So let's say for me personally, right, I've never been cheated on. But let's say I go and I follow a bunch of women who talk about the fact that, oh, I've been cheated on, all these niggas cheat, they steady cheating. I'm going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, niggas, they all cheat. That's all they do. And I'm not self-aware enough to really understand that that's not even my shit. That's not my baggage. That's somebody else's baggage. So one thing we really have to do is learn how to detach from some of these messages that we are constantly internalizing.
There really is no explanation as to how we've allowed it to get so bad. But I think that we have become conditioned to feel as if we need to just have all of these multiple people in order to make us feel whole. I had a friend who said, I became polyamorous because my partner was not able to fulfill all of my needs. Nobody is going to ever be able to fulfill all of your needs because too much of anything is not good. All about balance. My partner's not going to be able to fully fulfill everything that I need. At the same time, if I want to continuously engage and have a good, solid relationship with my partner, to also understand that maybe there is something that I need to go deep within myself to figure out why do I need him in order to fulfill all of my needs. I had to take time in order for me to get to this point to where I'm like, yo, it's impossible for you to juggle all of these energies. I tried it before. At this point, we just have to be very, very careful with taking on these traditions without doing proper research. You need to know what Africans thought before they were colonized. Half of you all don't even know if you're from Africa. A lot of us are right here from this land. Now, if you've been, like I said, if you've been married for quite some time and you feel as if you want to spice up your relationship, by all means, go for it. It's not going to always be perfect. Relationships can get messy, but it's up to us if we really want them to continuously to run and succeed, be willing to work together to clean them up. Not following these relationship gurus who probably are single, most of them are, unmarried, probably were lames before they got a microphone and a YouTube channel or a TikTok. Tell us how we need to carry ourselves when it comes to our relationships. We're taking on the energies of everybody else that ain't got nothing to do with our upbringing. We are taking on the energies and taking advice from people who couldn't even keep their own relationships together. So it's really just time for us to start taking stock in what we're listening to and what we're allowing to affect and build our relationships. Any type of foundation that has not been structured properly, anything that is built on top of that is going to fail. So like I said, I've never been married. I haven't been. But listening to my boyfriend and him being completely honest and transparent about how his marriage went, we've become more open because he knows what type of lifestyle that I was into. I met him when I was in the lifestyle. I couldn't juggle them both because it got to the point to where it was so overwhelming for me to have two different men dealing with. And then the other guy, he had his own girl. It was a big mess. And one thing that I noticed about being in that poly relationship for that short period of time is that, like, whenever they would have issues, he would come and talk to me about it. If your primary partner is engaging with other women or other men, 9 times out of 10, if y'all having issues, he's probably going back to tell them in order to clear some steam, or she's probably doing the same thing. Y'all don't even have time to even come together and try to figure out what the issue is because y'all done told everybody else. So now you done allowed everybody else to come into your business without coming to a conclusion on how you all could fix it. All I'm saying right now, y'all, and this is by no means no judgment, you do whatever you want to do with your body. Please do. We have to be just very mindful of the type of things we are allowing ourselves to get involved in because they are not of our traditions. If we were able to have structured families in the 1900s, all the way on up until whenever they decided to start messing with our families, there's no reason why we can't do it again. A lot of these people who are on TikTok and Facebook and this, that, and the other in these groups, they're not telling you the negative side of these. They're not telling you how messy they could get. They're not telling you about the jealousy that happens when you're dealing with multiple partners. They're not telling you about the cheating that still happens in the poly community. It's where I've heard that there are women who are literally okay with allowing their men to sleep with multiple women, but the men don't give them the go-ahead to sleep with other men. So how is that fair to you? Because when he's going out sleeping with whoever it is that he's sleeping with, and he's taking on those soul ties, whatever that person may have, he's coming home and he's bringing it to you. And vice versa when it comes to men. I've had my time. I know exactly what that feels like. But I also know that in order for me to want more, I need to be willing to understand that I have to have a conversation with myself and I have to do the healing that's necessary before I even invite somebody else into my life. And I did that. I tell my boyfriend this often, that you saved me from a lifestyle that I knew wasn't good for me. I grew up watching my mom be with the wrong type of men. That was my first view of relationships. It wasn't until she was able to get married that I was able to see what a structured relationship was. And that was later on in life. So as you can see, if you're a parent or you're a person who's engaging in these type of things and you have your children there to see that, if you think that that's not going to affect them and affect the way that they're dating, you're wrong. It does. These children, they see everything and they're smarter way beyond their years. There are women out here who are mothers who are having sex with multiple people and they're getting syphilis at an alarming rate to the point to where not only are they getting it, but they're passing it on to their children. Check it out.
Well, the Houston Health Department is calling the sharp rise in cases of the sexually transmitted disease an outbreak. KPRC2's
the cases Houston health officials are seeing, it's predominantly women of color who are most impacted. Nationally, there's been an uptick in syphilis cases, and health officials here say in many ways Houston is no different when it comes to what's happening in many major urban areas across the country right now. As syphilis cases in women have increased by 128%. New infections rose from 1,845 in 2019 to nearly 3,000 in 2022. Cases involving women who passed the infection onto their baby during pregnancy soaring from 16 cases in 2016 to 151 in 2021. Urging pregnant women to seek prenatal care and syphilis testing to protect themselves from an infection that could result in the death of their babies.
Look, I ain't here to judge, okay? All I'm saying is that we have got to clean up our house. Just saying. Listen. I'm gonna get up out of here. Look, don't shoot the messenger. Only receive the message. If it's for you, receive it. If it's not, leave it. You all make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you click that bell, and I'll see you all next week, all right? Peace.